Welcome to Down Underworld Denizens, Episode 8, Christmas Special.
Okay, and I've got our commentator question for this episode. Bit of a shout out to a number of podcasts this episode. So we're going to take out a leaf out of the Bonehead podcasts, and I'd like to ask the commentators: if you were a star player, what stats and skills would you have?
I think I'd like to hear from Babs first on that one.
Yeah. Okay, I've put a little bit of thought into this, and I think if I were to take to the Blood Bowl pitch, I think it would only be as comedy value. I don't think I would add much to the sporting expertise on the team. So I'm going to say my base stat line is that of a halfling, right? So movement 5, strength 2, agility 3 plus perhaps. Don't know what my passing stat would be, but my armor value of 7 plus would be a bit of a joke. And I don't think I'd have dodge, and I don't think I'd have right stuff. Right, it's definitely not throwable. So what skills would I have? I don't know. Maybe stand firm. I thought about stand firm because I can be very stubborn when I need to be. And the other one I thought is maybe I can have sure feet, because I have a tendency to when I do actually stumble in real life, I have a tendency to recover. I don't have a tendency to end up sprawled out on the ground. So there you go. There's my two stats. Yeah, so I don't know what my cost would be. Maybe 30K.
You mean to tell me you're not going to have the leader skills?
Nah.
Oh, come on, Babs, you've got to have the leader skill, mate.
I can't tell anyone how to actually play Blood Bowl. Not in real life.
All righty, Wilkes, what do you got, mate?
Well, I've come up with a bit of a fun one. So I've based myself on an Orc Biggin. So we've got Big Wilts, the Green Menace. I've started him up at 180k. Plays for any team with Badlands Brawl or Favoured of team rules. So basic Biggin stat line, but with AG 3 plus. Animosity to all teammates. And I've got Brawler, Guard, Thick Skull, and Loner 3 plus. And once per game, I can gain the Break, Tackle, Frenzy, and Juggernaut skills for that turn only.
Nice. I like that. You're a star player.
Well, that's the idea, isn't it? We've got to be star players. We've got to be
star players, yeah.
Inspirational to everybody.
Okay. Fair enough. I guess I'd have
see those biggins making a dodge somewhere.
I guess I'd have Loner 4 plus, but yeah, I still reckon I'm 30K. All right, what about you, Millsy?
30K. All righty. I think I'm a pretty average human lineman. However, I've got a couple of things that I'm slightly better at than other people. Well, I believe so anyway. But I don't think I'm good enough to have a stat upgrade. So I went with straight up human lineman, 6, 3, 3 plus, 4 plus, 9 plus. I've given myself catch. I'm pretty good. I'm a PE teacher, so I should be able to do that. I've given myself dodge. I think I can get away from most things. I've given myself pass. Not that I'm any good at any of these things, but I think I'm worth a reroll. I am pretty fast, so the kids at school tell me. Now, they are 12-year-olds, so don't take too much into that. So I've given myself sprint. And many people don't know I used to be I still am a 5th Dan Taekwondo master. So used to run my own schools and so on. So I've given myself kick. And if you ask any of the teachers at my school, whenever there's a staff lunch on or something like that, I've also given myself always hungry.
Nice.
Just for fun.
So what's your costing?
150K, probably a little undercosted. Yeah, okay. And my special rule is I'll play for any team who wants to pay my fees.
Right. Yeah, cool. And yeah, as you say, that's something we grabbed from the Bonehead podcast, and there's a number of other podcasts that we're paying homage to, who have also maybe done Christmas themes and things. So at the end of this episode, you'll actually hear the replacement intro and outro music. Our outro music of this episode is actually from Three Die Block, which we'd just like to say thanks so much for giving us permission to play. And in fact, it's one of their original Christmas songs, I think. Mills, you dredged it up from the archives. How old is the song that's our outro music?
I'm going to say it's probably 2011, maybe 2012. It's one I've had there for quite some time. I've got it on a CD. I used to listen to podcasts and burn them onto CDs so I could play them in the car, before iTunes and iPhones were a thing. So, yeah, it's going back a ways, and I still pull them out every Christmas and listen to them.
Yeah, and we've also got a quiz from Blood Bowl Anyone. So yeah, there's three other podcasts that we're kind of drawing aspirations for. Yeah, Christmas time is often a time when we travel. You want to visit the rellos, or you're under an obligation to, whether you want to or not. Some people choose to go on a holiday this time of year, so. But we, and not just we, travel for Blood Bowl. In fact, Ian McKinley was chatting about travelling 12 hours one way for a little event that we put on just yesterday, recording time. But what's happening? What's been happening locally? Let's talk about travel. Let's talk about what's been happening around the Blood Bowl world in our four spheres. Yeah, so what's been happening locally? Well, in Gladstone, I've been putting on some come and try days. So I ran one of those a few weekends ago, and that was good. We were using our Oz Sevens variant as a platform to learn the Blood Bowl rules, and we had a few people show up for that, which was really encouraging. Also, in terms of that kind of emerging thing, really pleased that one of our local areas in Emerald has actually been running their own little league, so that's really cool. Yeah, and then yesterday was a little event. Millsy, fill us in.
Yes, the last minute Krampus rush, and it really was last minute, and it really was a bit of a rush, and that was all down to Ian McKinley from Eye of Nuffle podcast that who's holidaying over here in Townsville, and just said, "Hey, we'd love to go to something if you can put it on." And Babs reached out and said, "Can we do it?" Said, "Yeah, hell yeah, let's go for it." So we sort of knocked around with a few bits and pieces of ideas and so on, and ended up hosting it here in Bundaberg. So I travelled the least amount to any tournament I've ever been to. I travelled a total of 16 minutes. I loved it. But the day went off really well. We had people as far as the Gold Coast in Queensland. So they did 5, 6, 7 hours. I'm not sure how long it takes to get down there. Quite a few of them came up and just had a ball like we always do at tournaments.
Yeah, I thought the day went really well. And then that event was actually a bit of a pilot event for some people to test out their rosters for the Brisbane City Bash, and we've talked about that being, the Brisbane City Bash is the last event in the Queensland representative cycle. So it'll finalise who's on the Queensland team going to Oswald State Champs. Brisbane City Bash, 32 places, sold out in 2 hours. A comment, Wilts, maybe hear from you first. What do we think? Is that something we want to see happen, or should there really be more spots?
Well, being that it's in a fairly cramped venue, then I do generally admit that there should be a cap on how many places they can actually offer. If they want to expand the event, if they want to get more people involved, they are going to need to find more room to put it up in. So in that regard, I don't blame them for it, but obviously it'd be nicer to have more people involved and have a bigger event overall. It's just, one of those things that you just have to work something out.
Yeah. And I mean, we did give as much notice as we could that tickets were going quickly, and that to set timers and whatever to get your tickets. And but I know of at least 6 people that missed out. So I guess that's a sign of the growing nature of Blood Bowl in Queensland. That a 32 place tournament sold out in 2 hours, and as I said, I know personally 6 people that reached out and said, "Hey, have you got a spare ticket?" So yeah, it's an interesting comment. Anything you want to add to that, Millsy?
Yeah, I'm stoked with the fact that we've got 32 people willing to go, and actually more than 32 willing. The only, if I had to give some constructive criticism to Dylan, was maybe set the time of when the tickets were released for maybe an afternoon or a night. I know that they went on sale at, I think, 10 o'clock in the middle of the day here, so I actually had to get somebody else to purchase my ticket. So that could maybe be the only one. But having said that, there would have been 32 tickets sold anyway. Yeah, I think it's a good predicament to be in, that we've got so many people, wanting to go.
Yeah. And as I said, yeah, it's going to be a competitive one. I'm really going along. I'll go along with the popcorn because I want to watch what happens, because my place is secure. But yeah, I'm really keen to see who ends up making the Queensland team along with me. Yeah, but the other end of the spectrum, in terms of something very relaxed, very laissez-faire, also happening in Queensland, Booze Bowl. Now, you two gentlemen went. I haven't been. Fill me in.
All right, I'll jump in here. So Booze Bowl, you might remember from last episode that Wilts and I travelled down, and it's just a kind of lazy day of sevens, and whoever turns up plays whoever else is there. There's nothing set in stone, but they're all played inside a microbrewery, and they've got a few quirky rules that, if you want to have a Bloodweiser keg, you've actually got to buy a beer during that round and so on. But and it's
Nice.
We went to the one in Nambour run by Rowan Latta, and his father, Peter Latta, is actually up in Cairns. So they're doing a similar thing up there. And Peter's been in contact with me and said, "Oh, Millsy, here's the rule set we've got. What do you think? What do you like?" I said, "Mate, I love it. Can I share it with the listeners of Down Under World's Denizens?" And he said, "Yep, no worries." So if you look onto our Facebook after here, you'll see a document. I do love one little aspect they have it in there, and it's just because you're in a that uncompetitive environment, and stalling is frowned upon. So they've got a new rule for stalling, and it's whoever stalls. So that means if you could go in and score, but you choose not to, or you fail something else first, if you could have scored, your player gets a bottling. Basically, it's a D6 roll. Someone from the crowd throws a bottle. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 or a 3, the bottle hits you as if it was a POW. So you're knocked down, you're going to get your armor rolled, and the ball will bounce out D8. On a 4 to 6, it hits you that hard that your armor immediately breaks and the ball scatters 3D8. So I love that little thing. And it's just to, if you're playing amongst mates, let's not stall. If you are, well, we're going to throw a bottle at you. What could be more Australian than that?
Perfect. Well, I don't know about Australian. I don't know that it's something we want to condone in real life anyway.
No, we don't. We don't condone that.
All right. We're going to talk with Ian McKinley.
And we are here post the last-minute Krampus rush. And we have here with us Ian, not the porn guy, McKinley. So, Ian, I have a question for you.
What is it?
What is it? How have you enjoyed your game here today, or your games here today?
I've enjoyed all of them. I enjoyed 2 more than the last one, where I got pasted 4-0 by Chaos Dwarves.
So tell us, what's your opinion now on the new Chaos Dwarf roster?
Well, if you can keep rolling 10s, 11s, 12s for armor breaks and then injuries, they'll do just fine.
That's something I struggle with just with regular Chaos, so I don't know if Chaos Dwarves are going to be any better for me.
No, it was... I can't say that I got to see the full power of the roster, because the power of the existing 10s, 11s, 12s was overwhelming.
Yeah, I faced Kiltane in my first round. I went down to him as well and just couldn't get in there. That guard everywhere as well, just so difficult.
I didn't know Bull Centaur would be able to catch his own kickoff, though.
I have to say, I was very impressed. All 3 of my opponents were very, very high quality. So, and I didn't have an easy game at all, which was a shame, really, because I then ended up second from the bottom. How about you, Wilts?
I only just finished ahead of you because I managed to get an actual win on the board in the last round rather than having two. What did you end up with? 2 draws and a loss?
One draw and 2 losses.
1 draw and 2 losses?
Yeah.
Oh, righto. So I managed to score a touchdown in every game, so I'm proud of that at the very least. Playing 1.5 games out of 3 with Hackflame was a bit disappointing, but he came good in the last round and did Skaven things and scored some touchdowns, and it was a good time.
Yeah, fantastic. Millsy, what's your vibe?
I went one of each, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. I had, like I said, Kiltane in the first round. Went down to him 2-1. Bounced back 2-0 against Zach's Necromantic.
Just be careful about rosters.
Against Zach's team. And then in the last round I had Dr. Nick and managed to get the draw in there, and it was back and forth, and like neither of us could stop someone from picking up the ball, and I won't tell you which teams we played.
Yeah. So, we just want to say thank you so much for coming on Down Underworld Denizens, Ian, and great to have a connection with Eye of Nuffle podcast. And I hope this is the beginning of much repartee between the two podcasts.
I completely agree. I was, the moment you guys came out, I started listening to you. I really enjoy your episodes. I like the way you do deep dives into some of the big issues of the day. Like the stuff that you did on ladies in Blood Bowl was great. So I'm always tuning in. I'm really touched that you guys pulled off this tournament. Relatively last minute. I mean, that was in the title of the tournament, last minute Krampus Bowl. To allow me to come and play, it's been great. And hell, I podiumed. I don't always podium at tournaments. 3rd place, I'll take it.
So your first international podium?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, no. In Boston at Snow Bowl last year, 2 years ago, I won it.
Yeah,
but that's the same continent. Doesn't count, does it?
We have our own continent all to ourselves, Darren.
And you've got some good Blood Bowl players down here.
Absolutely.
And everybody was really, really decent. Good guys to play against.
Yeah, we do pride ourselves here in Queensland that we don't have any bad eggs kind of thing. Like, everyone gets along. And, while we might not like the outcome of our matches, we're all decent guys, and we all really look forward to meeting each other every time we get to a tournament.
Tournaments are too far and few between occasionally. Obviously people with families, which is not me, struggle to make more than X number of events in a year. I'd love to have more. I suppose there's limits in all things.
So advertise, Queensland tournaments, salt-free.
Well, I've got one final question for you.
Okay.
Did Nuffle's eye pass you by?
It did in games 1 and 2. It did not in game 3.
Mate, Ian, thank you very much.
On you.
Ian, just once again, thanks for coming along. We've had a ball having you here and putting this on for you. So, thanks for turning up.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, but there's another event that has just finished recently that is the biggest tournament in Australia, the Big V. Lots of people went down to Melbourne to compete. There were unfortunately, some last-minute cancellations. I heard that there were flight difficulties for a number of the guys from South Australia, so that's a bit sad. So numbers weren't quite what were predicted. I think the total number of coaches, Johnny Wilkinson corrected me online, 160 was their total number for Big V. That is a record for them. I think it's a record for Australia. And we had a number of guys make the trek from Queensland. Actually, sadly, a couple of Queenslanders couldn't make it and had to pull out the last minute. But we did have a number of Queenslanders make it down there, including our very own Stewie from the podcast. So that's pretty cool. And lots of cool things that have come out of the Big V, including they had a custom star player designed by Ugly Miniatures called Merv Hewson. I think Merv, is that right? Yeah,
I've
and
got him in my hands right here now.
Is that his name?
Mervyn Brewchucker Hewson.
There you go. And anyway, somebody from the Big V went to an event where the actual Merv Hughes was in attendance and actually showed it to Merv. Merv loved it and signed the card.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Just on that, actually, We do actually plan to get a bit of a last segment of Around the Grounds is going to be on Victoria. We do want to cover Victoria, but we're just waiting for the right person. We have somebody in mind that we want to get on our podcast. We're just waiting for the right time for them. And yeah, that will conclude our Around the Ground segment. So if you're in Victoria or you want to hear about what's going on in Victorian Blood Bowl, don't worry, Down Underworld Denizens has got you covered, but we're just waiting to finish off with really probably the strongest Blood Bowl state in Australia. They probably have the largest number of tournaments and tournament attendance, and obviously the home of the Big V. So stay tuned for Victoria. It is coming up in an episode soon. But yeah, what's happening globally? Millsy, you've been following along. Yeah, what's been happening globally?
Globally, well, there's been a bit of, I don't know if you can say controversy, but Eurobowl have released I don't know if it's an alpha or a beta set now, their rule set, and it's causing quite a storm. They've got this hard rule of you can only take a skill 4 times, and if players on your team already have that skill, then you don't get to take it at all. I don't know, Babs and I have had a few bits and pieces of discussion about it. And I suppose at the end of the day, when Babs and I have been discussing it, we have said that the rule is the same for everybody. And if you think a team is going to be more suited or less suited or whatever, everyone does have that option of, taking the best team there. Well, one person on your team does because it's an 8-person team. But yeah, Babs, did you have any more to add about the rule set?
Well, I guess there is a really, really good podcast on it if you're interested. I think it's, from memory, it's episode 55 of One World, One Blood Bowl. They actually cover it in a lot of detail. I don't think there's much we can add to it, but obviously, it does put an interesting spin on, how important is a rule set, because clearly the rule set for Eurobowl is having ripple effects, sadly, in this case, seemingly in a negative way. The good news, I guess, is the rule set is not finalised yet, and the team in Hungary are still considering. So, I hope personally they do listen to reason and make some adjustments to it, because I really want to see Eurobowl go from strength to strength, and I would hate to see numbers dwindle from an unfavourable or an unbalanced rule set, which I think is pretty clear that this rule set is not balanced across teams like other rule sets are. I'm not saying that Blood Bowl is a balanced game. I'm not claiming that it's a game where every team can do the same, but there is a normal expected kind of tiering of teams and so on that's standard, and this rule set adjusts that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and moving on, also in the global arena, the November FAQ. Wilts, do you want to fill us in on the November FAQ from GW?
Well, I would like to, but it does not seem to have actually happened, so it's difficult to confirm a negative, but there's been no new updates and no new FAQs issued by Games Workshop for Blood Bowl. It was expected to have something released in November, so it's all a big mystery, and we're still waiting to see what happens.
Now, Babs, I think you've heard a couple of rumours about
this.
Yeah,
look, this is extremely speculative, right? This is very, very speculative, but I have heard it from a reliable source, or reliable-ish source, that there is supposedly playtesting going on for a new edition, and sadly, that rumour came with that there is some unsettledness about that new edition. Now, I don't want to make anybody nervous, but I think we all would love to see the rules just generally get a bit of a tidy up and maybe see wildly inaccurate disappear the way of the dodo. But apparently there is potential play testing going on. That's the rumour. Obviously, people who are actually involved in that play testing, and because there are members of our community who are involved in play testing of new teams, let alone a new edition. So there would be people, but they would be under a non-disclosure agreement. So I'm not quite sure how that rumour got out. But if they were planning a new edition, then that could be the reason why the FAQ didn't drop. could be that there's been a bit of delay in the new edition that potentially was originally planned to drop about now or in time for Christmas and has had to be delayed for various reasons. So there you go. There's one possible explanation. As I said, it's a rumor of a rumor and an assumption on top of those rumors. But it's one possible explanation as to why there is no designers commentary for November.
Yeah, no, interesting. Like it's you could speculate because it's not out. This is what it could mean. The other thought that I had was we've literally had one team come out. This is the Chaos Dwarves, and the only rule change in there was about Iron Hard Skin, which is actually in the Chaos Dwarf Spike magazine. So maybe it's a case of they didn't need to change any rules at this stage. Maybe for the new edition, whenever that comes out, but maybe they didn't need to change anything and didn't feel that they needed to put an FAQ or a errata out.
Yeah, well, that's right, because the May designers commentary would have covered everything we potentially needed to know about the gnomes. So yeah, it is only the Chaos Dwarf clarification. I think it would have been nice to have had an FAQ about whether Iron Hard Skin means you can't get any assists from fouling. The wording seems pretty clear, but it just strikes as an odd point. Yes, I think people would just like to see an FAQ one way or another there.
Well, I think it's a moot point anyway, because I played in the last-minute Krampus Rush yesterday, and my first game was against those Chaos Dwarves. And in order to be able to foul them, you've actually got to get them on the ground, which I sort of failed to do the majority of the game. So it didn't make a difference.
That's it. Yeah. And as mentioned, we're coming to an end of our Around the Ground segment. And I guess I just want to put the word out there. I want to send out some feelers if we're on the hunt for some Blood Bowl being played in regions we haven't covered in Down Underworld Denizens. So locally in Queensland, I'm really keen to know whether there's a Blood Bowl league in Toowoomba. We actually have a document that we share, which has all the leagues listed in Queensland and a contact and when their next season starts. But yeah, haven't heard anything about Blood Bowl in Toowoomba. I'd love to see a league get going there. I know of a couple of Blood Bowlers in Toowoomba. I've heard of a couple, but I don't know that there's a league active. Love to see one get up and run, maybe a bit like Townsville did. Also keen to know if anybody is playing Blood Bowl in the Northern Territory, particularly, obviously, Darwin or Catherine are your most likely contenders. So yeah, if anybody's listening in from the top end, love to hear from you if you play Blood Bowl. And I have heard a whisper that there is a league of Blood Bowl in Hobart. Now I'm going to chase a contact. A friend of a friend have said they know of a league running in Hobart. They know of a guy who's involved. I'm going to try and chase that down. But if you're listening from Tasmania, we're not only interested in Hobart, interested in Launceston, maybe Devonport. Yeah, anybody playing Blood Bowl in those areas, we want to hear from you. We don't want to be one of those maps of Australia that forget Tassie. We've all seen them, maps of Australia without that island. But we've actually got some really big news. Millsy, what can we celebrate at this Christmas season?
Well, I believe we can celebrate being the longest running Aussie podcast. The previous to this was for Blood Bowl. That's correct. Yes, previous was Tackle Zone Radio, which came out way back in the day. It was actually the second Blood Bowl podcast out. Three Die Block got their podcast out. I believe it was 1 month before Tackle Zone released theirs. And to the best of my knowledge, Tackle Zone only came out with 7 episodes. You could probably cut that down to 6 because I think it was episode 4 or 5 that was recorded and they lost the file. So I don't think that one even aired. Now, they did, at the end of that, sort of go defunct for a while. And back in my day, I was all over the Ozbowl forums and going, come on, when's the next episode? When's the next episode? From there, they reached out to the Slurpcast in America with Johnny P and Extreme and sort of hooked up with a bit of a deal to do Slurp Tactic Zone. So Zlerpcast came out once a month, and then the Zlerp Tactic Zone came out in the middle of the month, and it was Sean Sharp and Nathan Thompson were the hosts of Tackle Zone Radio. So they did all the recording, sent it off to Johnny P, and he did the editing. So yeah, so Sean Sharp or Boof was his NAF name. Nathan Thompson was Greedy Smurf. Now, you might know him. He was actually part of our Eurobowl squad for 2024. And also Chris Stratford, Devil's Reject.
Queensland's own.
He was a co-host.
We had him on episode 3.
Yep. So he was a co-host for at least one episode. I know he was talking about, I think it was either High Elves or Pro Elves in that episode they were talking about. So, yeah, but if all of my information is correct and we release this one, we've had 8 episodes produced entirely in Australia. We're, Australia's #1 Aussie Blood Bowl podcast. Yes,
we're claiming it. And it was so long ago, nobody's going to be able to fact check us. Speaking of fact checks, look, at Down Underworld Denizens, I know Millsy and Wilson and I are always really keen to make sure we get our facts correct. In fact, we actually, kind of hold a bit of a self-respect to ourselves on making sure we actually have our facts right. And when we do get it wrong, if we have something that's not quite correct, we're very happy to come on and correct it. And so there's a couple of things that I just wanted to go on the public record of saying, look, we in our banter, we may have got some details not quite correct. One of those is that I mentioned very briefly that Eurobowl 2025 was in Poland. That's not correct. Eurobowl 2025 is Hungary. I was confused because Eurobowl 2026 is Poland. So there you go. Eurobowl 2025 is Hungary. That's the one with the very, very interesting rule set, at least in beta form, waiting for final. And then Eurobowl 2026 will be in Poland. Now, we actually also have another correction. The other correction is around the odds of a successful 2-dice uphill block. We were kind of... Millsy, you were chatting with Rowan Ladder excitedly about a 2-dice uphill block. But the odds are not quite... I've done the maths. The odds are not quite the same as a 3+ dodge with a reroll, which I think you mentioned was what you thought. It's actually, if you're doing a 2-die uphill block, it's only 44.4% chance of being successful if you consider a push a success. However, in Rowan Ladder's case, if you have wrestle, it goes up. And then it becomes 69.4%. Still not the same as a 3+ dodge with a reroll, but it is much more likely to be, a 2-die uphill block is much more likely to be successful, very close to 70% likely. So, yeah, there you go. There's a couple of little minor corrections.
So a 2-die uphill block, if you have either block or wrestle, is about the same chance to be successful as a 3+ dodge with no reroll.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Although, obviously, if you roll both down and you both have block, would you consider it successful? Because, you didn't.
Well, you're not on your own back, so I'd count that as a success.
Yeah. I'm going to go hand solo on this one, and so never tell me the odds.
Nice. I like it. Well, although that said, a lot of advanced Blood Bowl is probability-based and risk management, so we do want to get that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess finally, 2 dice uphill block. When might you do it? If you have wrestle and a reroll, you can actually get the odds of a 2-die uphill block. If a push is considered a success, you can get, wrestle with a reroll, you can get up as high as 90.6%. So there you go. There's where you can potentially consider it safe. All right, Millsy, you love a good Christmas gift?
Certainly do. Yeah, well, it's that time, isn't it? It's the time of the year for giving. And here at Down Underworld Denizens, we want to give something to the world. So each of the commentators have, gone through and racked their brain and gone, what does the world of Blood Bowl need the most? And I might kick this one off. I think what we need is a Christmas team. Now, we don't just need a Christmas team. We need an Aussie-themed Christmas team. So I've come up with the 6 White Boomers is a song, I believe, by maybe Rolf Harris. He's a prominent Australian here. And I've modelled my team off that. So I just want to go through and tell you a little bit about it. So we have 0 to 16 Aussie worker elf linemen. Now, these cost 50k. They're movement 7, strength 2, agility 3 plus, passing 4 plus, and 8 plus AV. Now, they come with frenzy, right stuff, and a safe pair of hands because they work themselves into a frenzy all the time. And you can believe that Christmas, they're safe in their hands. They do have right stuff, but they don't have stunty. So you're thinking, why would you do that? Well, we got some big guys on there. Well, semi-big guys. You can have 0 to 6 boomers. Okay, these cost 100k. They have movement 6, strength 4, agility 3 plus, no passing, and 9 plus AV. Now, these come with Juggernaut, kick teammate, hence the right stuff on the Aussie worker elf lineman. They come with leap, no hands, prehensile tail, and very long legs. What good is having 6 white boomers?
Also, for any of our overseas listeners that are confused, a boomer is a gigantic kangaroo.
Yes.
It certainly is. And what's the use of having 6 white boomers if you don't have 0 to 1 Santa's sleigh? So we can also take one of those. They're 150k, movement 5, strength 6, agility 4 plus, no passing, and AV of 10 plus. Now they come with brawler, break tackle, juggernaut, pro, mighty blow +1, and stand firm, and no loner. They're a tier 2 team. Their re-rolls are 60k apiece, and they play for Old World Classic. How's that for a present to the world, lads?
Now, you will put that up on our Down Underworld Denizens Facebook group so people can see that roster.
I've got the file ready to go. I'm waiting for this episode to hit the viewers, and then I'm putting it straight up.
Brilliant. Yeah, I've got my own gift. In fact, I've got 2 gifts. I couldn't help myself. So I've got 2. The first gift I have is I wanted to actually just provide for the Blood Bowl community what I think improves our 7s variants. In particular, I'm talking 7s and Gutter Bowl. And of course, can apply if you want to play a 7s version of Dungeon Bowl, but predominantly, yes, 7s and Gutter Bowl. And basically, it's a new way of drafting your 7s team. So interestingly, I'm not the only person to think about this way of forming teams, because I know that Blood Bowl this year actually had a very similar way of organising their 7s rosters. So what I'm suggesting is, rather than having 0 to 4 positionals or 0 to 5 positionals, instead what we have is regular number of positionals, but halved. All right, so I'll put these rules online, but very, very short. What that means is that a team that has lots and lots of different positionals, they'll still get access to half the regular number of their positionals, but a team that only has a few only gets a few. So it keeps the balance of 11s in 7s. And that's one of the issues I believe plagues NAF 7s is the balance is not right with the way teams are devised. Now, I don't believe it completely solves the problem with 7s, because I believe the other big issue with 7s is the fact there's no line of scrimmage where blocks can occur after kickoff. Now, Oz 7 solves that as well. And so there's the true solution. But I'm saying if you still want to play your traditional 7s with 2 lines of scrimmage, one way you can improve is using this new way of forming a team. You start with 650k and half regular positionals. A few exceptions there for teams with 0 to 1 options. But I can't help myself, and I didn't want to just go with one gift. The other gift I've done is of a similar nature. I can't help myself fiddling with the rules. You know, it's true that back in the day I was on the rules committee, and maybe it's a vestige from that. But what I do want to do is just provide an option for people who think, like many of us do, that there are too many stars hitting our tournaments and stars are dominating. So what I want to do is provide for you a proposed solution. And again, it's concurrent thinking. I've actually had a brief chat about this solution with Steve Lemke in Canada. He proposed an alternate system that did something sort of similar, in that he provided costings or additional costings for every single star player, what I've done is put star players into tiering groups. And I just want to really shout out to Liam Madrell. He and I worked on getting this up and running for a tournament called the Big Ipswich. So it actually has been tested and been successful. So there you go. There's 2 gifts for you. Star player tiers that can be revised and used in tournaments that I've worked on with Liam Madrell. We want to gift that to the world, a way to get tournaments with balanced stars and see stars in a better percentage at tournaments, and also see some of those lesser used stars taken more often, but also balancing out our sevens a little better. Wilts, what about your gift?
And my gift to the world for Christmas this year, for Krampusmas, is a special set of mercenaries that you can play in your home games. I've designed the idea around having 4 people playing together. So whether that's a game of Death Bowl or 3 people playing some round robins of 7s or 11s, whatever it happens to be, I've got 3 mercenary players and a inducement that people can share between themselves. So the concept that I have is a big Krampusmas feast before an exhibition game. There's a snotling, a dwarf, and an elf walk into a restaurant. Make your own jokes about that here. So I've got obviously they eat, drink, and be merry and have a good time, and then afterwards they've had a bit of a change in performance coming back out onto the field after their lunch break. So we'll start off with the snotling that I've got here. I've called him Dogfur. He's got a big nickname of the Sapling. So instead of being easy to push around and easy to kill, he's a snotling that has brawler, iron hard skin, and stand firm. Now he also has AV11 plus, but he does not have sidestep. So the idea is that he's stuffed himself rotten on food. He's used all of the plates and glasses and trays and strapped them to himself to make his armor better and make him completely unmovable. And Dogfur the Sapling, I'm putting him at an 80k value for inducements for people to add to their team value. Next up we have Soren Ruby Heart. He's a dwarf blitzer, goes by the nickname Sugar Rush. So after he's tried some elven wine and some sweet treats, he's hyped up on sugar and he's ready to go. So he's a dwarf blitzer that has dodge, jump up, and sidestep. I'm putting him in at 180k, and he's ready to go out there and overperform better than any dwarf has ever done.
He might be a bit too much He might be a bit too elvish. They might disown him.
Well, on that subject, we've got an elf coming up. He's an Elven Union linesman. He is Pickled Rickel. So he's gotten into that dwarven ale and he's suffering for it on the pitch afterwards. So he's a regular Elven Union linesman, but he's got Disturbing Presence, Drunkard, and Projectile Vomit. And I'm putting him in at 150k. And last but not least, the chef that prepared the meal for them all that's had drastic and severe side effects, I'm calling him the Halfling Apprentice Chef. So instead of rolling 3d6 and getting a reroll on a 4+, he only rolls 1d6. But on a natural 6, he can roll a second d6. Because he's still only an apprentice, he can't keep going forever, so he only gets that second roll and he doesn't get a third even if he rolls double 6s. And so a Halfling Apprentice Chef, I'm putting in at 100k value, available for all teams.
Right.
So
on a 4+, he gets you a bonus reroll like the regular chef. Is that how it works? So on a 4 or a 5, you get 1 reroll. If you roll a 6, you get 1 reroll and you get a second roll. Is that how it works?
That's right.
Yeah, cool. Awesome gifts. Love it. Some new star players and a new inducement.
Yeah. What more could the world ask for?
A quiz. That's what the world could ask for, and we've got one for you. Millsy has worked hard. He's spent hours, and I'm not even exaggerating, preparing for us a quiz. So we're going to cross now to Millsy's quiz.
Okay, and here on Down Underworld Denizens, bit of a shout out to another podcast, which is Blood Bowl Anyone. I listen to quite a number of podcasts, and one of the things I like about Blood Bowl Anyone is they have these little competitions or quizzes every episode, and I'm going to shamelessly steal it. And this quiz is called the Pointless Quiz. So if you can imagine Family Feud, where you've got to try and come up with the best answer, in Pointless, you've got to come up with a correct answer that is given the least amount of time. So by the end of the quiz, you'd like to have the least amount of points, just like in golf. So I have 7 questions, and I've got my 3 commentators, myself, and we've got Babs, Wilts, and we're joined by Stewie today. So how you going, Stewie?
Yeah, great, mate. How are you going?
Mate, I'm going fantastic. And because you're the guest commentator, I'm going to let you answer the first question first. So are we all ready?
I guess
Maybe.
there's nothing like a bit of pressure.
We don't have buzzers, do we?
No, we don't have buzzers, no. So question 1. Now, for those listeners out there, I've actually polled. I went to the Big Ipswich Key last year, or later this year, sorry, and put these questions to a lot of the people attending there, and then I've gone onto Messenger and all my Facebook friends and got them to answer this. So I do have quite a number of answers. So question 1, let's just jump straight into it. Can you name an on-roster player with a starting mutation skill? So this is a player that's on a roster that has a starting mutation skill on them. And we might go to Stewie first.
I have no idea. Unless
You've got one in your team, buddy.
Are you talking star players or
Any rostered player.
So in this particular one, it's a rostered player, so not a star player.
Yeah, so it could be from any team, though. So it could be Nurgle, could be anything.
a beastman from?
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. There's your answer.
Beastman for
Stewie's answer?
Stewie.
Beastman. Yeah.
Okay. Babs.
I am going to say a Chaos Renegade Minotaur.
Okay. Got Babs. Wilts.
I'm going to say the Nurgle Rotspawn.
Nurgle Rotspawn. Okay. So I can reveal after round 1, the Beastman Runner lineman from Stewie scored 4 points. The Chaos Renegade Minotaur for Babs scored 2 points. And Wilts's Rotspawn also 2 points.
Hey.
For those people playing along, actually 4 points was the highest in that. There's a fair old spread in here. There was actually 22 players you could have named, and 3 of those were a pointless answer. Those 3 were the Hooligan. He has disturbing presence. The Slan lineman has very long legs, and the Chaos Dwarf Firesmith has disturbing presence.
Yeah, I thought of the Flamesmith. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we might go in the same order. So question 2. Name a non-big guy with a starting cost of 100,000 or more.
I'll stick with Chaos and go.
So Stewie.
Yeah, I'll stick with Chaos and go a Chaos Blocker.
Chaos Blocker for Stewie. Okay, Babs.
I'm going to say a Imperial Noble Blitzer.
Babs gets an Imperial Noble Blitzer. And Wilts.
I'm going to throw it open to the teams of legend. I'm going to go with a High Elf Thrower.
High Elf Thrower for Wilts.
That may be an incorrect answer.
Well, I can let you know.
They cost 100.
Do they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do. So answers for that, the highest scoring answer was a Ward answer. That was 6 points. No one chose that, so luckily. Stewie chose the Chaos Chosen Blocker. That got him 2 points, bringing him up to a total of 6. Babs, the Imperial Noble Blitzer, 1 point, up to a total of 3.
Wee.
And Wilts, Wilts managed to get himself a pointless answer.
Oh, well done.
Sweet.
Well done,
Yeah,
Wilts.
I thought it was
There
just
were-
under 100K. There you go.
No,
Yes.
I've been looking at high off team rosters on and off for the last 18 months, so it's
Fair
the
enough.
numbers are in there.
Yeah. Well, there were 22 players to choose from. There were 10 pointless answers. So this is actually the biggest pointless answer. You could have had an Elven Union Blitzer, a Undead Mummy, a Pump Wagon, an Ulf Werner, Tomb Guardian, High Elf Thrower, which Wilts took, High Elf Blitzer, Slan Blitzer, Vampire Thrower, or a Vampire Runner. So after 2 rounds, Stewie's still way out in front, or should that be behind on 6 points? Babs on 3 and Wilkes on 2. Moving on to round 3. Name me a star player with strength 4.
You want me to kick off again, Millsy?
Yeah, I think we'll go in the same order again, yeah.
Carla Von Kill.
Carla Von Kill for Stewie. Okay. Babs.
I'm going to go Zarg Mad Eye.
Zarg Mad Eye for Babs. Okay, and Wilts.
I was trying to remember his name. I'll mate the fat Skaven dude that's got Juggernaut.
Glart Smash Rip.
That's him, Junior. Glart Smash Rip Junior.
Well,
Blast Smasher for Wilts.
Junior no longer exists in the current edition.
Oh, doesn't he?
No, just
Oh,
Glart.
so he's a pretend Glart.
Yeah. Okay. For round 3, there were 11 possible answers. There were 2 pointless answers, but I'll go through. Carla Von Kill for Stewie scored him 4 points, so he's on a total of 10. What have we got? Wilts had Glart Smash Rip, 4 points as well, brings him up to a total of 6. And Babs managed to score one of the 2 pointless answers with Zarg Mad Eye. So it brings Babs up to 3 points.
Wait, Zarg only came out after the Big Ipswich. Does that even count?
It was actually out at the time, and we knew of it because people were putting it down. The other pointless answer was Max Spleen Ripper.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. So I think we might have a bit of a change up now that Babs is leading. Let's make him go last. Okay. Question 4. Name any player. Can be a rostered player or a star player. Name any player with the sidestep skill. So we'll get Stewie first.
Rostered or otherwise. I've got a mental blank. Either not enough sugar or too much caffeine, one of the two. What's the Roxana? Alvin.
Yeah, Dark Nail. Does she have sidestep?
She has sidestep.
She might do.
I'm pretty sure Roxana has sidestep.
Stewie's going with Roxana.
Could be a wrong answer.
Stewie's locked in Roxana. Wilts.
I'm leaning in the direction with Stewie with elves, but I'm going to lock in Gloriel Summerbloom.
Gloriel Summerbloom for Wilts. And Babs.
And I am incorrect. Doesn't count.
Rats. Okay, I'm just going to stick with one on. Can I pick Jeremiah Cool, or did he come out too recently to count?
Jeremiah Cool was out after we put the quiz out, so you'll have to choose another one for that.
Have to choose another one. Sidestep. All right, I will go a Underworld Snotling.
Underworld Snotling for Babs. Okay. As Stewie's already alluded to, I think he might have a rule book in front of him now. Roxana is an incorrect answer, which scores him 10 points, which actually doubles Stewie up to 20 points.
Nice.
Okay. Wilts took Glorial Summerbloom.
Good answer.
For a score of 1 point.
One.
Brings him up to 7.
That better not have been Liam.
It probably could have been. And then Babs took an Underworld Snotling for 1 point.
Yeah.
Bringing Babs up to a total of 4. So there were 19 players available. 7 pointless answers. The Snotling Funhopper, the Snotling Stilty Runner, the Black Gobbo, Gretchen Watcher, Rodney Roachbait, Boa Constrictor, and Estelle Lavino. Okay, so moving on to round 5. Round 5. Name any player, rostered or star player, with the pass skill. We'll go to Stewie first.
Skill. All the obvious ones will be the human catcher. The human thrower, a Valkyrie. Something a bit more obscure. Pass skill. Natural. My brain's not working.
Gee, come on, just pick a player with pass. Come on.
I'll just go with Valkyrie. Norse Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Valkyrie for Stewie. Wilt.
I'm going to go with Scroll Half Height.
Scroll half height for Wilt. And Babs.
I'm tossing up between 3 answers. I could go Black Gobbo, could go Bomber Dribble Snot, but I think I'm going to go a Tomb King Anointed Thrower.
Anointed thrower for Babs. Okay. Let's go. What have we got here? So there were 18 possible players, 5 of which were pointless answers. Stewie went with a Valkyrie, which was a pointless answer. Well
It
done,
was too
Stewie.
obvious. No one voted for it.
Yeah. Wilt took Scroll Half Height, which was 1 point, bringing him up to 8 points. And Babs took the Anointed Thrower, which was another pointless answer. Brings Babs up total of 4 points after 5 rounds. Holy moly. The pointless answers for those playing at home were the Renegade Human Thrower, the Underworld Skaven Thrower, the Anointed Thrower, the Valkyrie, and the Python Warrior Thrower from the Amazons. Okay, let's look at question 6. Another star player question. Name a star player with a cost between 100,000 and 200,000.
Well, it's most of them. Actually, is it?
It's quite a fair
It's a
few.
few.
Cindy Pie Whistle?
Cindy Pie Whistle for
Yeah, Cindy Pie Whistle.
Stewie. Okay. Cindy Pie Whistle for Stewie. Wilt.
If I pick the second player in a star player pair, technically you don't pay anything for them, right?
So therefore they won't fit in the band.
They would be between 100 and 200,000. Okay, I'm going to go Helmet Wolf.
Nice.
Helmet Wolf. Okay, let's look at Helmet Wolf for Wilts. And Babs.
I'm going to go, I'm on a Chaos Dwarf theme. I'm going to go Rashnak Backstabber.
Rashnak Backstabber. Now, although the Chaos Dwarves were announced at the time of the Ipswich, we didn't actually have prices. So, Babs, I'm going to actually have to get you to choose again. Rashnak was a correct answer or a pointless answer, but he was not included in the data. So you'll have to choose again.
Okay. I'm going to go with one of Wiltz's favourites, Glorial Summerbloom.
L'Oreal Summer Bloom for Babs. Okay. Stewie took Cindy Pie Whistle. Cindy is an incorrect answer. Another 10 points for Stewie. Unfortunately,
Too cheap.
Wilts. Too cheap. Yeah, she's that's why she's a megastar. Wilts took Helmet Wolf. Took her about as many times as everyone else took her. Wilts scored 4 points for Helmet Wolf. And Babs chose Glorial Summer Bloom for 3 points. So after round 6, we have Stewie on 30, Wilts on 12, and Babs on 7. There were 24 players that you could have fitted into that. There were 10 pointless answers, and the pointless answers were Grim Ironjaw, Hackflem, Max Spleen Ripper.
Hackflem is an
No,
incorrect
Hackflem's
answer.
over.
He's 210.
He's 210, yeah.
Oh, is
He's
he
been
gone up?
errated.
Oh, he's been errated. Well, I'm going to have a chat about this after the quiz. Max Spleen Ripper, Silaram Fingram, Boa Constrictor, Ivan the Animal Death Shroud, Creek Rustgouger, Kiroth Krakeneye, Puggy Bacon Breath, and Scrapper Sorehead. So, last round, round 7. Name any player with Loner 3+.
Is that an open question, or are you asking somebody in particular?
We'll go to Stewie first to give him the chance to get the best answer.
I think Carla Von Kill is Loner 3+. I'll get Carla Von Kill. If I'm wrong, it's an.
Are we going, Carla? Stewie?
Yeah, but lock it in, Eddie.
Lock it in. Wilts,
I'm going to go with the Black Gobbo.
the Black Gobbo. And last of all, Babs.
I'm going to go a Black Orc trained troll.
A Black Orc trained troll for Babs. Okay. Carla Von Kill is an incorrect answer. Unfortunately, brings Stewie's total to 40.
Dewey's winning. He's got 40 points.
He's got 40 points. Okay. Wilts, the Black Gobbo scored you 2 points, bringing you to a total of 14. Now, Babs, you have 7 points. You need to score 7 points or less to take the win. I will say that you have chosen the highest point scoring thing there with the Black Orc Troll, and it scored you 5 points.
Yes.
Yay! There were 12 answers there, with 2 being pointless answers, and one was the Old World Alliance Troll Slayer. And funnily enough, his stats were released at the time. Rashnak Backstabber, even though we didn't have a cost on him at the time, he was released at the time with the Loner 3+. So there we go.
Of course, OWA Dwarves are Loner 3+. That was silly. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other three dwarf
yeah.
positions got picked, just not the Troll Slayer.
How many votes did Griff get?
Griff got 6, actually. Actually, Griff was higher than the Black Orc Train Troll.
Okay. And is Puggy 3+? I was wondering about Puggy Bacon Breath.
Well, I don't have him on my list, but it's one of my gripes I'm actually going to have a bit of a rant about now. In order to do this, I actually had to have my rule book, all of my Spike magazines, and then the internet to go through. Games Workshop, please put these in one document. That could be your Christmas present to the world. Put everything in one document so I can get correct answers for my quiz.
We've just played a fun Christmas game, though, so well done, tying it into the theme.
Yeah.
Was that Christmas? Quizmas.
Quizmas, nice. Quizmas.
So, yeah, a bit of fun there. As Stewie was put in at the last minute. We only found out that he was going to come on today, so he hasn't had any chance to prepare. Yeah, so, Stewie on 40, Wilts on 14, and Babs on 12. Now, you would think that Babs might have an advantage, having written some of these rules in the past, so take out of that what you will. I'd be interested to know what those people playing from home, what they chose. I can put a full, complete, comprehensive list up on the on our Facebook page, so you can see which players scored which amount of points, and you can come up with your own results from there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'll get you next time, Babs.
Yeah, bring it. That'd be awesome.
I'll back in next time. I'll probably get 40 again.
No, aim for 50 next time.
50. I'll raise the bar.
And I just want to say thanks to Millsy for putting all that work in. I deliberately had to walk away from several conversations during Ipswichki because people were busy filling in their answers for this quiz.
Yeah, it was when I handed it out, I said, I told people about what it was going to be. Oh, and please don't show Babs. So, you just thought they were ignoring you for real, but yeah, no, they had a reason this time.
All right, cool. Well, we'll move on from here. Thanks so much.
No worries.
All right, and then finally, final segment of Down Underworld Denizens is some genuine gifts. Like we were talking about gifts in terms of digital, resources that you can apply to various circumstances, but we're actually talking about physical product gifts. There are a number of ways that we want to actually say, hey, if you've got maybe you get some Christmas coin, and maybe your nan gives you a bit of cash at Christmas time. And if you've got some cash to spend, there are a few ways that you can get some physical products. So first thing we want to do is talk about we still have some pitches available. Now, the Big Ipswich key, I worked hard with Liam Madrell and the Ipswich Blood Bowl Association organising committee to develop two pitches. One is a Blood Bowl 11s pitch, a bit of a Mad Max theme. There's also an Oz 7s pitch. There are two designs, and some of those pitches are still available. So I am actually going to list them available for sale through, in breaking news, our own Down Underworld Denizens Etsy sales shop. So we actually have an online shop. We're going to be selling merchandise. That is still very much a work in progress. And we're going to be putting some other bits and pieces up there. But for now, we're just going to list a few pictures. The other pitch, of course, is you've already heard, if you've listened to our previous episodes, is our beach bowl pitch. So all of those pictures will be going up soon. They will be available for you to purchase through that site. So yeah, what do they do if they want to get one sooner than our Etsy page going live?
Well, if they want to do that, easiest thing is just to hit us up on our Facebook page. So you can either post a message there, or if you are friends of myself or Babs or Wilts, just send us a private message, and we can take your details and get them out to you, and find some way of getting a payment off you and getting them down to you. So if you're after them and Etsy's not working for you, or we haven't got it up there quite yet, just reach out and we'll do our best to get them to you. All right. And speaking of gifts, we've got some actual physical gifts that you don't have to purchase. We're going to send them out. So in our last two episodes, we've actually had a couple of competitions. The first competition was for designing an ice pelt hammer blow. And we had 4 fantastic entrants in that. One from Dr. Nick, one from Andrew Laidlaw-Jones, one from Matt Campbell, and one from Russell Avery. So I'd like to announce the winner for that one. And if this person can get in contact with us, we'll get your details and we'll get it out to you. And the winner is Russell Avery.
Yes.
Yeah. So his ice belt hammer blow, movement 3, strength 6, AG 5+, PA 5+, AV 10+. His skills: always hungry, iron hard skin, loner 4+, mighty blow +1, regeneration, throw teammate, strong arm, and a cost of 260k. Now, one of my favourite reasons for voting for this one was the special rule, incognito. As a master of disguise who gracefully guards his true identity, Icebelt has a knack for showing up where he is least expected. Once per drive, at the start of his activation, Icebelt can swap position with any friendly big guy on the pitch. Icebelt is able to swap with players who are prone or stunned, and can swap if he himself is prone or stunned. But each player assumes the state of the other when they swap. Likewise, if either player is in possession of the ball when they swap, the ball also changes hands and thus retains its location on the pitch. Following his swap, Icebelt can continue his activation as normal. And Icebelt would play for Old World Classic, Favourite of Corn, and Chaos Undivided.
Love it. That's so clever.
Okay, and our second competition, which we launched in episode 7, was designing a Blood Bowl poem or a Blood Bowl song or some sort of writing with Blood Bowl in it. We had probably our largest set of entrants in this, including an entrant that actually gave us a video entry, and that was from James Cardno over in New Zealand. We also had Andrew Laidlaw-Jones gave us the 12 Days of Blood Bowl. Sven Drakenspear gave us the poem The Bloody Boot. Brad Snowy gave us Blood Bowl Bells, sung to the tune of Jingle Bells. Ian McKinley gave us A Land Snowed Under. You might recognise that as like a land down under. Rowan Latta gave us a gnome haiku. Peter Latta gave us the Bloody Bowl. And drum roll, please. Insert drum roll there if you get one. And the winner is Ian, not the porn guy, McKinley, with a land snowed under. Now,
Yeah.
I just love this one. All three of us did. But I just thought it was so, like, it met the design brief perfectly. It was a Blood Bowl jingle, and it really laid into, or, really felt like it was coming home to us with a land down under. It's just that's an Aussie song around the world. And Ian wrote it that he came from a land snowed under, i.e. Canada. So it's just props to Ian. I would love to sing it, but I don't think I could do it justice. But I will put up all of the entrants on our Facebook page. And really, thank you for our first year of Blood Bowl podcast from Down Underworld Denizens.
Those entries were just brilliant. Like, honestly, it was really tough to pick a winner because there was 4 or 5 brilliant ones in that mix, and they're all high quality, really high grade. So yeah, thank you everyone for entering. Yeah, brilliant. And just want to do a couple of other business shout outs. First of all, I promised the WA guys that I would give a shout out to a company that is based in WA that I know the WA guys have worked with before, called Molly's Grotto. Molly's Grotto is a business that will do custom pitches for you. So if you want to get a custom pitch in Australia, Molly's Grotto is going to be the contact there. I'm sure if you punch Molly's Grotto into Google, it would come up. I will put a link up in our Facebook group. So you can go there for your pitch. But we've got a more important or more significant announcement to make about physical products, and we are going across to have a chat with Tats from Tats Tabletop. Yep, we're on. And not only are we on, but we're joined by Chris Tattersall, aka Tats Tabletop, and he is joining us because we've got 2 bits of big news. The first bit of big news is that Down Underworld Denizens have our first official permanent sponsor on Down Underworld Denizens for at least a couple of annual cycles. And we just wanted to get Tats on himself, Chris the man, just to say, hey, mate, we really just want to say thank you so much for believing in Down Underworld Denizens. We didn't even exist 12 months ago. And it's an amazing thing to be able to partner with you officially in this capacity of a business partnership. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Babs, and hello everyone that's listening, and Wilts and Nosy.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, Tats Tabletop's not really been going that long as well. It's all very new to me, and we've met at a few tournaments and whatnot now, and it seemed glaringly obvious that we shared a similar goal, and in that we wanted the game or the sport of Blood Bowl to grow in Queensland and Australia, and we've sort of just carved our individual ways of making that happen. And so far, it seems that everyone's prospering from that. So it was a no-brainer to enter a partnership, I suppose.
Yeah, which is fantastic that we've got you on as our first official sponsor, and that means that we will make sure that where we're discussing something relevant, we'll make sure we tie it back to products you have on offer, which many of our listeners don't need any convincing at all. They're already customers of yours. But just obviously we're leading into Christmas. It may be you can probably comment on this, but it may be too late to order a 3D printed team in time for a certain loved one for Christmas or whatever. I think delivery times might be a bit too tight for that to happen at this point in time. But why don't you just briefly run through new stock you've got in terms of 3D printed what globally seems to be called proxy teams. So that is, they're not the official teams for Blood Bowl. They're not the official Games Workshop ones, but they are very, very suitable for a number of fantasy football sports games, and Blood Bowl is a key one of those. So, yeah, why don't you tell us about what's the latest in stock?
Yeah. So we obviously for a while now it's been known that we're the one of 2 suppliers of Punga miniatures, which is a big name in the fantasy football 3D printed world. And we will probably touch more on this goal in a topic later on, but we came from a sort of an angle where we wanted to get things into Australia that weren't available already. So that's where Racco Vendetta came along, and they're quite big in Europe. And I think we spoke about Racco on a previous podcast as well. But yeah, so they and Brute Fun's just anyone knows about Brute Fun and the teams that he puts out. So them three guys are just smashing it month on month. They Punga just released a Christmas themed Snotlings team. I don't know if anyone's seen that, and that's pretty bang on for a team. But yeah, in terms of the shipping times, it's kind of out of my hands at the minute. It's all Post that we use for shipping mainly. And yeah, it's probably cutting it very fine at this point of recording. But yeah, we've just done a sort of sale through eBay. That went well. We saw a big upturn in sales from a sort of boosted Black Friday-ish event that went on. And there'll be another event in January as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Excellent. And in our previous episode, we were talking a little bit about the Chaos Dwarf team that Games Workshop released is the most expensive team to collect to date because you need 2 Bull Centaurs and a Minotaur, and then of course there's the stars on top of that. From your range, is there a particular supplier of miniatures that would be suitable to represent Bull Centaurs and Minotaurs that you would recommend?
Yeah, so there's 2 actually, and I didn't touch on something actually that happened very recently, which we actually onboarded a new brand, which was Torchlight Miniatures as well, and they've kind of been going under the radar a little bit in Australia. They touch and go. I know that I've previously stocked them and stopped stocking them for reasons of my own, and I think Jester Prince has had an attempt at stocking them as well. I dare say that we probably stopped doing it for the same reason, which was it's not necessarily a quality of the team's perspective, it was the printing part of it. But we've grown and overcome that, so we're now confident that we can get them out with the quality that they're sculpted. So yeah, we've got Torchlight on. Touching on them though, Torchlight's original Chaos Dwarf team was a very, very popular choice. The Minotaur in there was, in my eyes, probably the coolest Minotaur you can get at the moment. But sadly, they came out when the new Chaos Dwarfs dropped. They came out and I believe publicly said that they were not going to add the additional positionals. And instead they were going to come up with a new Chaos Dwarf team, which was the Kung Fu Flamers team, I believe. Outside of that, though, on the flip side of that, Racco Vendetta, who we just mentioned, they also had a Chaos Dwarf team that was a Japanese themed Chaos Dwarf team. I think Millsy, you have seen this team before as well. This Chaos Dwarf team.
Yeah, we actually took that as one of the teams you gave us for our the Down Underworld draft. So I'm lucky enough to have one of the Bull Centaurs. I got some death stares when I picked that off the table. But yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, after you rigged
miniatures.
it so you get the first pick at them.
Well, yeah, if you're going to run it, you might as well run it well.
And actually, that's a good segue too. Actually, just while we're talking about the draft, of course, all the draft miniatures were provided by Tats Tabletop as sponsoring that particular segment. And so, yeah, if you want to see some of the miniatures that we're talking about or others, you can have a look at our draft teams because we've painted them up for you, and yeah, you can see what they look like. Sorry, go on, Tats.
Yeah, so I was just saying, on the flip side of what Torchlight did, Racco Vendetta, they released the original Japanese team, I think last year, quite a while ago, and when this news dropped from Games Workshop, they then went out to all their Patreons and they released the additional players for free for anyone that was a Patreon that already had the team. So to sort of pass that on to my customers, all we did was just swallow them players into the original cost of the team. So whatever the team was costing someone to buy already, it was add 4 players, I think it was, and the cost was the same. So we just upgraded that team the same way that Racco did.
So I've got a question for you. So imagine I have, an official GW plastic Chaos Dwarf team, but I'm balking a little bit at the price of the Bull Centaurs or the Minotaur or both, and I want to get myself, maybe a Hathark the Unstoppable suitable miniature, a couple of other Bull Centaurs, and a Minotaur. Shipped to me, how much do you think that might cost for our listeners' sake? What kind of price are you talking about there?
Well, if you were coming to me with that, you were sort of asking me to fulfill that, and you had no idea of which models you would want to do that. Firstly, I'd probably say your Minotaur and the Bull Centaurs, you probably want to pick them out of the Torchlight Models team, which we can do. On eBay, it's not set up exactly like that. You can't just buy individual teams, but if you get in touch with us through Messenger, we can work out, and have a discussion about what exact models you need if you don't need the full team. We can do that as well. So the Minotaur and the 2 Bull Centaurs would probably come from the Furnace of Pain team from Torchlight, would be my choice anyway for you. Scaled very well actually to the new GW team. Yeah, so there's actually that I know of, or that I've got available to me. There's 2 options for her calf. There is, I don't know if you've seen this guy. He comes onto the Blood Bowl community Facebook page quite a bit, and he's called Frank Cantos Designs, and he just designs star players. He brought one out, and then Racco Vendetta have gone through this couple of months where they've just been producing star player after star player. And they released one as well. So there are actually models out there designed to be exactly Hekaf, the star player. So yeah, and either of them, obviously we just discuss, and I'd show you images of both of them. You pick one you want. For them 4 models, Minotaur, 2 Bull Centaurs, star player, we're probably talking maybe about $35, $40 posted.
Wow.
That's pretty generous. Yeah, that's awesome.
We don't need to discuss, and I'm pretty sure anyone listening doesn't need to be told that that's considerably cheaper than
one single Forge World model.
That's probably the price of the Forge World postage, regardless of getting the models.
Which is the major benefit of 3D printing, as we all know.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But we're actually, we've asked you on because it's a Christmas episode, and we decided to talk a little bit about gifts. And you're actually branching out your company. You're actually branching out what is on offer. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your kind of gift to us that you're planning to release in 2025 to Australia and nearby? Tell us about this new initiative that your business is going into.
Not a problem. So, touched earlier on that we're very keen on bridging the gap. And what I mean by that is Australia seems like pinned by this, shipping. We just touched on the shipping cost of Forge World models. To get Forge World models from Nottingham in England to anywhere in Australia is an obscene amount of money. And there's a few other things, like everyone always wanted Charlie Victor products, and to get them here was outrageous money, so on and so on. And now that I've become a sponsor of tournaments and leagues, and I've started talking to people about what products they like to have or what they would like to get in the future outside of just 3D printed teams for a sponsorship deal for any particular tournament. And there was one thing that just kept popping up. And it kept popping up that everyone wanted this product, Nobody could get it in Australia, and everyone was outsourcing it. Everyone was going to somewhere else to get it. Very recently, big major tournament that you just mentioned on this just a minute ago did exactly that, and they went and outsourced from the UK from a particular company. Um, you know, obviously they've paid a premium price to get this product, get it made in the UK and shipped to Australia. So to cut a long story short, what the products we're talking about is dice, custom dice. So Blood Bowl dice, think Black Hawk Down, think Baron of Dice, and any any tournament organizer or league coordinator that's ever gone and got a quote from AliExpress or Alibaba in China and started talking to them guys about getting your own custom logo printed, and they start saying, you know, we want 10,000 units as a minimum order quantity, etc., etc. So we, for the past few months, have been racking our brain on how to bridge that gap, and we are excited to announce that we have bridged the gap. So very early in 2025, there will be a website set up for Tats Tabletop, which there currently isn't, which is a flaw of ours. And that dice will be dedicated, that website will be dedicated to custom dice. So we're talking engraved dice and handmade, hand-poured dice, the likes that you would get from Baron of Dice. And sort of everything below. It's taken a long time to work that out and to practice that and to buy all the equipment and everything that's required to produce dice. But we've got there. And I believe, Babs, that in your hand or in your vicinity right now, there are 5 sets of arguably the first ever produced in Australia set of complete Blood Bowl dice, which was a big coveted thing given away at a very recent tournament in Australia. Not our sets, but you know, that was the big thing, that no one could get a full set of 7.
Yes, that's true. And yes, it is true. I do have 5 sets with me in person.
So we've taken soft orders, you know, local orders for them. We've shared a few photos around of social groups and local leagues, and they've gone down very well. So obviously the idea is that they're going to go on the website, and we will remove the shipping charges from America and the UK, so on and so on, and people will be able to buy these sets in Australia for the first time ever.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, Tats, you said there's 7 dice. For our listeners, what are those 7 dice that we get?
You put me on the spot, Millsy, and I'm hoping I got that right. So we've got the 3 block dice, the 2d6, the 3 block dice, the 2d6, the d8, and the d16.
That's right.
I'm very confused because I'm looking at a giant pile of dice just to my right that are currently being painted, and it's a mishmash of block dice, d16s, d8s, and so on.
Yeah. So this is not just your standard d6 that someone gets with their symbol on the 6. This is block dice as well.
Yeah, just to give that a bit of explanation then, because obviously most people, they just want custom dice, you know, and they don't really know what goes into that process. So there's 2 major types that you can get. You can get acrylic dice, which are like, if anyone's gone to China and bought dice in from China that have just been like, you know, you can get the UV stickers placed on the top, or you can have them laser engraved. We are offering that. So we can do them by the hundreds for leagues, tournaments, etc. And then you've got like what Baron of Dice is producing, which are actually epoxy resin, much higher quality outcome. And instead of it being engraved, it's actually cast like that. So there's a full set of 7 dice, a typical Blood Bowl set of 7 dice that are fully cast with custom logos, custom font, custom designs, and that'll be our first sort of set that we take to market with the website. Outside of that, though, like I'm saying, tournament organisers, league organisers, and even clubs, can approach us and ask for custom D6 dice or custom block dice, or even for the first time in Australia, the full set, customized if they want. Varying prices, varying levels of input, varying levels of stress for us, I suppose. But it's all there. It's all on offer.
I'm gonna go broke just buying a new set of dice for every single team I make.
And potentially putting your team's custom logo on them.
Well, that's absolutely the key draw here, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess what we're really saying is if you're planning a tournament or if you are a commissioner of a league and you want to get custom dice as part of what you offer, as part of your league or as part of your tournament, absolutely reach out to Tats and see what he has to offer. And as you said, there's two different options here. We can get lasered plastic dice, which is exactly what you're going to get from, even GW dice are effectively that. They're plastic dice. Or you can get the resin dice, which have a different finish. And as Tat said, they're a premium product and they absolutely feel like that level of premium.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And just to add on that, this is not exclusive to league organizers or whatnot, because one of the big like prompts to do this was the local Townsville League, and I'm in their group chat, and there was a bulk buy discussion. So everyone was talking about buying of dice, and they wanted to club together because they wanted to get rid of the shipping, and everyone was going to buy their own dice sets in one transaction. And I'm aware that people do that right across Australia, not even for just dice, but like Forge World, like you've said, people do that kind of a tactic to keep the cost down. And obviously, what we're saying here is you don't have to do that for dice anymore. If you just want to buy one set, you can buy one set, and it's handmade in Australia. It comes from Australia. The company that we get the resin from is an Australian company. All the tools were bought, it's all done local, and yeah, you're supporting a small business and getting the product that you desperately want for cheaper than previous, quicker than previous, and it's all local.
I can't wait, mate. I'm excited.
So this will probably be public, like the website, if you will. Like tournament organizers, obviously, if you just want to message and you've got tournaments lined up for 2025 and you want to get ahead of the curve and start discussions, that's all good. We can do that via Messenger, but the general sales of things is going to be on the website, and that's going to be sort of mid-Jan.
Yeah, and final question for me is, I know that we've, in fact, Down Underworld Denizens have actually been working with you, Tats, to make some block dice symbols and some other things, so that there are a couple of just standard style block dice that, if you just want a custom set of dice from a pre-existing range, that's something you can order as an individual. You don't have to be a league organizer or a commissioner of a tournament to be involved in this process.
No, that's right. Yeah. You don't need to bring your own logos or design anything. You just want a custom set. There'll probably be a range of colors that you can choose from. So, you can sort of match that as close as you can to your team colors, etc. And yeah, you just get a custom set from a pre-existing set of logos or block dice, images, icons, etc. Yeah, that's kind of what the website will be there for.
That's fantastic. All right. Anything else from you, Millsy?
No, mate. I think Tats has hit it on the head. Like he's got that new niche for us here in Australia, especially. Like we're already going to him for our 3D printed models, but now I can get a custom dice to suit the team that I'm getting. It's what's not to love about it.
Yeah, and speaking of, it's not just Blood Bowl, of course. You can get them for Blitz Bowl as well.
Yeah, or even Arena Bowl if you really wanted to play that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks very much, Tats, and thank you for supporting Down Underworld Denizens in the many, many ways that you do through the draft and through being an official sponsor for now for the next little while. We really appreciate it. We value it, and we hope our listeners do too.
Yep. Thank you all. Thank you.
And that is it for episode 8. Thank you so much for joining us for our Christmas-themed episode to put you in that Christmas mood. We're going to finish with a Blood Bowl song, not sung by us. I'm sure you can say thank the lucky stars for that, but sung by the lads of Three Die Block. All right, out from us. Have a great Christmas, and we will see you in the new year.
Oh, thank you very much.
You don't see enough of Juggernaut.
Juggernauts, juggernauts, juggernauts rock. Juggernauts swing and opponents' bells ring. Blowing up wrestle, stand firm and fend. Now the frenzy fun can really begin. Juggernauts, juggernauts, juggernauts rock. Juggernauts fine, even in overtime. Blitzing and knocking that orc over there. Hey! Through the stadium air. Once upon a time, it was the right time to block the night away. Juggernaut time is a swell time to go against what the experts say. Hey, that's us. Giddy up, Minotaur, pick up your feet.
Or hooves.
Juggernauts need no block. Mix and mingle in a little sure feet. That's why Juggernauts, that's why Juggernauts, that's why Juggernauts rock.
That's brilliant.
I was waiting for that.
Well, why don't we do our sign
can
out?
we now go back
Put your sign out in.
That's brilliant. I've had to get another one for you.
All right, let me just grab this for a second. All right, and we're going to do our sign-outs now. So from Babs, I'd like to say, may you have a fantastic Christmas period. May you get lots of Blood Bowl in. May you get some Blood Bowl goodies under your Christmas tree. And, I hope your new year gives you some downtime, maybe some painting time.
I'm going to say everything that Babs said, and it's win or the casualty bin.
And spare a thought for some of us poor Christmas elves that have to keep working for you to keep retail plugging along in the meantime. And try not to get whammed by Last Christmas songs and all that sort of business. And we'll see you bright and early in the new year.
Awesome.
That's it. Break out Mariah Carey.
Put her back in a cave.
I'm not joking. I literally got whammed on the first day of December. Day one. Earliest knockout.
I got whammed 3 times in one day last week.
Oh, it's atrocious. I don't know whether you noticed, but it actually came on one of the YouTubes during the Krampus rush. I was like, quick, turn it off. I didn't want to wham anyone. All right, guys,
That's
I'm going to go.
pushing the limits, isn't it?
Yeah. That was good. That was a good session.
Guys, and I just want to say, well, I know we said it on the podcast there, but dudes, we've just had a year of podcasts. How do we feel about that?
I don't know. I still don't really believe it's happening sometimes, but sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm super pumped in this quiet time. I'm really keen to get this merchandise up and running. So we just have to wait and see how we go. But yeah, I just want to say, thanks for contributing, guys. We make a good team, I think.
No worries. Right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks again. Bye. Down Underworld Denizens discusses Games Workshop's games and products such as Blood Bowl, Gutter Bowl, Dungeon Bowl, and Crunch. We also discuss other fantasy football board games and concepts from other companies, such as Dread Ball, Guild Ball, Grind, Elf Ball, Myth and Goal, Blitz Bowl, Chaos Ball, Monsters of the Midway, and Feud Ball. We discuss products and services such as miniatures or software made by producers suitable for several of these board games. Games Workshop terms and conditions in point 2.1 state they grant the user the non-exclusive right to use their authorised intellectual property for broadcasting and other media-related activities such as commentary and opinion pieces, blogs, and other similar informational and descriptive purposes. Down Underworld Denizens respects and honours these terms.